and Russian cannonballs tore through their ranks.
We're back with another Epic History TV
January
Napoleonic
1807.
Wars continuation, chronological order.
French Emperor Napoleon Bonaparte, victor of Ulm, Austerlitz and Jena, was near the height of his powers.
I think this is peak French Empire, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. Or is it after he defeats Prussia that it's peak French Empire? Yeah, because the Duchy of Warsaw is a thing yet. Let's continue.
His Grande Armée had swept all before it. Now, in the depths of a bitter Polish winter, he sought the final victory that would make him master of Europe. His target, the Russians, supported by the remains of the Prussian army.
Oh my gosh, dude, it's freaking insane to me what happened to the Prussians, bro. The Prussians got completely steamrolled. Honestly, in my personal opinion, Prussia is low-key kind of overrated.
But many months of campaigning had exhausted even his toughest veterans.
Yeah, man, I would
Most
bet.
had not seen France in years, and the war in Poland seemed to offer only freezing mud, hunger, and a stubborn enemy who did not know when he was beaten. At Poltusk, the Russians had fought courageously and thwarted Napoleon's first attempt to outmaneuver their army.
Okay, Russia,
But
I
another
see you.
opportunity would soon emerge. Command of the Russian army had recently passed to General Levin August von Bennigsen. Despite his German name and Hanoverian roots, he was a veteran of 34 years' service with the Imperial Russian Army.
Okay.
On the 27th of
Okay, this guy, I don't know what's gonna happen, but this guy seems like he's gonna give Napoleon a run for his money.
January, with 77,000 Russians and 13,000 Prussians,
Damn, that's a lot.
Bennigsen launched a surprise winter offensive,
90,000?
targeting Marshal Ney's exposed.
Bro, 90,000? 9, 18, 20. Bro, that's like almost 1/3 of the population of my country. Jeez, man. God
Sixth
damn.
But Ney escaped, and Bernadotte's First Corps fought a successful rearguard action at Moringen.
Okay, Bernadotte.
Now Napoleon would turn the tables on Bennigsen. As soon as he'd learned of the Russian advance, he'd begun planning a grand encirclement of the enemy. Suddenly, it was the Russians who were exposed. But Bennigsen got wind of Napoleon's trap.
Oh, this is gonna be crazy. This is gonna be crazy. I can tell. This is gonna be crazy. Plus the music is very tense already. At the video, we're like 2 minutes into the damn video, man.
Just in time, and began a hurried withdrawal. 5 days of relentless marching followed, with Marshal Murat's vanguard nipping at the Russians' heels all the way. But despite a series of furious assaults on their rearguard, ably commanded by Prince Bagration, the French could not break through.
Damn, Russia! Okay! Russia is actually giving Napoleon trouble. Damn, like, Napoleon was just steamrolling everybody else, but Russia is... I mean, in the end, we all know that it was Russia who, like, defeated Napoleon, but still, it seems like Russia was the only one who could actually stand up to Napoleon. Jeez, man.
The pursuit continued,
Freaking hell.
even as temperatures plummeted. To the north, Ney shadowed Lestocq's Prussian Corps, while Soult's 4th Corps followed the Russian rearguard to the small East Prussian town of Eylau.
Okay, so this is where the battle comes. Okay, we got a quote right here. Battle of Eylau. I like that name, Eylau. That's a very nice name, Eylau. I feel like naming my kid that.
On the afternoon of the 7th of February,
I wonder what it means.
Marshal Soult's troops advanced up the icy road to Eylau.
Alright, so freaking Epic History zooming in. So I say this in like all of my reactions, but Everyone knows when epic history zooms in,
They
that's
found
when
it
it gets
held
real.
by General Barclay de Tolly's Russian division,
Alright,
entrenched along a line of
Barclay
fences,
Tully.
ditches, and barricades. Just before dusk, confused combat began around the town's cemetery.
Okay.
More and more troops were sucked into the bitter fighting.
Ooh.
The French
Bloody hell, man. I could only imagine like fighting in the snow. Bro, oh my god, how are people able to do that? Like your hands are freezing and like you're like losing sensation of your hand and whatnot. Bloody hell, man. Bloody freaking hell.
took the cemetery with a bayonet charge, but then had to hold it against a determined Russian counterattack, led by
Russia.
Barclay himself, who was seriously wounded by...
Whew, the Russians are giving Napoleon a run for his money. Respect. Respect. I have a bias for Russians and Russian people. I don't know if anyone noticed it.
grape shot. Vicious street fighting continued well into the night, but the French ultimately prevailed, with the loss of 4,000 casualties on each side.
Alright, pretty equal, pretty equal.
Soldiers and officers alike were astonished by the savagery of the engagement.
I bet. Dude, this is mad.
As darkness fell, temperatures dropped dramatically.
Hell, it gets
Many
even
of the
worse.
wounded froze to death where they had fallen.
Damn! That is bad! That is horrible! Oh my gosh! Nope, 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 nope. I hate the cold. I mean, I love the cold because whenever I'm in the cold, like my light skin tone like comes back. But oh no! Freezing to death like this, bloody hell! No, thank you.
The French ransacked Eylau for food and firewood. Many Russian soldiers had to sleep in open fields, wrapped only in their
This is the
greatcoats,
craziest battle so
forbidden
far,
to
hands
light
down.
fires.
Holy crap! This
That
is the
night,
craziest one.
Napoleon's greatest concern was that the Russians would slip away under cover of darkness, robbing him of the decisive battle he craved. He need not have worried.
Napoleon, you're like a Japanese. This reminds me of the Japanese obsessing over they were trying to find a decisive battle in World War II against the US Navy. That decisive battle came and they got absolutely destroyed in the Battle of Leyte Gulf. But still, very similar to the Japanese, how the Japanese viewed their doctrine.
Bennigsen
People say
was
that was a
done
bad
running.
doctrine.
Here at Eylau, the Russians would make their stand.
Okay, Russia. Russia's hard.
Is something interfering with your happiness
Hard.
or preventing you from achieving your goals?
Alright, so I'm poor. I say this in all of my reactions. I wonder if anyone would donate to me. I don't know. I'm not monetized. My channel isn't really monetized. I have nothing set up for donation, so let's continue, shall we? Alright, Battle of Eylau. We have a quote right here. Day 2. Day 2. How many days is this? It was a vast hurricane of death that seemed to smash and erase from the face of the earth everything in its path. Okay. Hurricane of death is mad. Freaking hell.
Before dawn, Napoleon was on Eylau's cemetery knoll, trying to make out the Russian lines through his telescope.
Oh my goodness.
He was surprised by what...
Dude, freaking on the cemetery? Oh my, like, have respect for the dead, man. I mean, to be fair, this whole place is basically a cemetery at this point.
he saw. 67,000 Russians packed into two great lines along a 3-mile front, with well-defended villages.
Wait, what did he say about what Napoleon? I want to hear what Napoleon thought. I'm gonna...
Make out the Russian lines through his telescope. He was surprised by what he saw.
Whoa!
67,000 Russians
Surprised.
packed into two great
Why was he
lines
surprised?
along a 3-mile front, with well-defended
miles?
villages anchored.
3 miles? 3 miles? Dude, 3 miles? These battles were that big? Jeez, man. Bro, Barbados is what? 21 miles wide and like 18 miles long. Dude, the fact that they're basically fighting on like the same length as Barbados, kind of, it's crazy to me. Like, I can't imagine like a big battle like this happening on like the island of Barbados itself. Like, I genuinely can't imagine that.
Covering both flanks. Open ground lay between the two armies, providing a clear field of fire for Bennigsen's 400 guns, a huge amount of artillery for an army of the age.
400? What?
Napoleon had Soult and Augereau's depleted corps, plus 400? The Imperial Guard and Murat's reserve cavalry. Just 40.
How are you gonna do this, Napoleon? How are you gonna do this? I heard that this battle was a close victory for Napoleon. I don't know if it was this battle, but I heard that some battle that happened in Prussia was super intense. So let's continue.
55,000 men and 137 guns.
And 137 versus 400.
But Napoleon was expecting Davout's Third Corps, 15,000 men, to arrive at any moment, in perfect position to fall on the Russian flank.
Okay, Davout, let's see.
At dawn, as French troops were still getting into position, hundreds of Russian guns opened a massive bombardment.
Golly.
In Eylau, there was chaos, as round shot crashed through buildings and tore through.
Oh my gosh, dude, imagine being inside of a house with 400 guns being shot at you. Imagine that. Hell no. Hell no. Dude, what would you do in that situation? Think about it. Like, he said that there's utter chaos, right? What would you do if you're a soldier? Would you just stay in a house and risk having an artillery shell smash you to pieces? Or would you try to get out? And get out of Eylau itself, because that whole thing is basically a kill zone, okay? Oh no, that is, yo, like, think about that. What would you do? What would you do if you're inside of Eylau? You're a soldier and you just have all of that raining down on you. Oh, I don't even know what I would do. I mean, I don't know, maybe I would take my chances and try and like get out of the town. Because this whole thing is a kill zone. Like, there's no freaking way. 400 artillery? I think that's the biggest I've ever heard in any battle. Let's continue.
French guns soon answered the Russians in kind.
Yeah, but
it was the largest combined artillery bombardment the world had yet seen. It lasted nearly 3 hours.
Jeez, 3 hours?
While Bennigsen had quantity, French crews were more experienced, and against the densely packed Russian lines, they couldn't miss.
Okay, France. Okay, so it's not as bad as I thought. Okay, France. Alrighty, France, I see you. Okay.
Meanwhile, Davout's two leading divisions arrived on the battlefield, dangerously placed on the Russian left flank. But before they could attack, Prince Golitsyn struck first with his cavalry brigade.
Bro, the Russians, man, these Russians are built different. These Russians, I mean, Napoleon defeated the Russians like so many times in the past, right? Yeah, I remember, but still, right now, the Russians are just freaking, they're just hell, man. Fierce, they're vicious right now.
Veterans threw back the horsemen with disciplined fire.
Oh, okay, Davout, I see you.
Golitsyn's charge, however, bought time for General Bagavout to reorganize his defensive line to face the new threat. When the Iron Marshal attacked around 8 a.m., he found the enemy entrenched on a ridge with formidable artillery support. Davout's lead division was mauled.
Dude, this music is giving me goosebumps. Like, you can't see it, but like, I don't know if you can see that, but like, dude, I have goosebumps on my freaking skin right now. This is absolutely madness. Holy crap.
Suffering 1,500 casualties as it was thrown back.
Oh, dude, this music, bro.
This check on Davout alarmed Napoleon. He feared the Russians might withdraw before his trap could close. It was, he decided, the battle's critical moment. orders flew out to Marshal Augereau's 7th Corps and General Saint-Hilaire's division. They were to launch a frontal attack against the enemy. At all
this is gonna get crazy, isn't it? This is gonna get crazy.
costs, the Russians' escape must be prevented.
Freaking hell. Alright, we have a quote here.
The 49-year-old Marshal Augereau had been with Napoleon since his first command in Italy
Augereau,
and the brilliant campaign of 96. But he was deeply unwell that morning. At 10 a.m., strapped to his horse, he led forward the 12,000 troops of 7th Corps.
Bro, is he gonna
just
die?
as heavy snow began to fall.
Oh my gosh, don't tell me he's gonna die. Is he gonna die?
With visibility down to a few feet, Augereau's divisions drifted off course, straight into the murderous artillery duel.
No!
French and Russian cannonballs tore through their ranks. Augereau's men pushed on doggedly, but as they neared the Russian line, the blizzard suddenly lifted. One division found...
Oh no. Oh no, this is so bad. This is so bad. They're gonna get annihilated. They're going to get annihilated. Oh my gosh.
Itself facing 70 Russian guns at a range of just 30 yards.
Ooh.
Seconds later, its forward ranks were obliterated by Russian canister.
Ooh. Oh, dude. Oh, I can only imagine. This is the craziest one. This is the craziest one. This is the craziest one.
Another French division broke through the enemy line, only to be surrounded on 3 sides by Russian bayonets and annihilated.
Oh no!
Augereau's horse was killed under him, leaving him badly injured. As the survivors of his corps stumbled back the way they'd come, Russian cavalry and infantry surged forward. Units were overrun. Entire regiments.
Bro, I'm speechless. Guys, I'm not faking my reaction right now. I swear to you. Like this is just, oh, I don't even know what to say. Like, I'm thinking about that. Like, imagine you're over here watching all of that unfold. You're just watching your comrades just get annihilated like that. Like, that's what I'm thinking. I'm not even looking at the squares and I'm just thinking that, okay, the squares are gone. I'm like thinking like in the perspective, right, of like the other Frenchmen, right, just watching your oh my gosh, dude.
Swallowed up. Order and discipline collapsed.
I'm surprised Augereau even survived that. Like, how in the heck did he not die from that? That is mad.
One of the few units to maintain order was the 14th Infantry, nicknamed the Brave for its heroic role at Rivoli 10 years before. But now they were outnumbered and surrounded.
Rivoli was the craziest reaction that I did. Rivoli, well, this is much more crazy, but before, Rivoli was the craziest reaction that I did. If you haven't checked it out, go check it out. But this one takes the cake.
The regiment resisted bravely, but was cut to pieces, suffering 75% casualties and the loss of its Eagle standard.
No!
In the space of just 30 minutes, the Russians inflicted 5,000 casualties on Augereau's 7th Corps.
No!
Effectively, it had ceased to exist. It was one of the worst battlefield disasters of the Napoleonic Wars. For the French, Eylau was no longer a fight for victory, but a struggle for survival.
Napoleon! What are you going to do? Marshal Murat!
From Eylau's cemetery knoll, Napoleon watched the catastrophe engulfing Augereau's corps. He knew he
That's what I was asking. What? Like, imagine just watching that.
must stabilize the situation immediately and buy time to reorganize his center and for Davout's corps to arrive in force. So the emperor turned to Murat and his large cavalry reserve. It was a desperate gamble. The horses were tired and suffering from the cold. They'd be outnumbered and unsupported by infantry.
Oh.
But the flamboyant, apparently fearless Marshal Murat was undaunted. He assembled 40 squadrons of cavalry, 5,000 dragoons and cuirassiers, and led them forward.
Okay,
So
Murat.
began one of the legendary cavalry charges of the Napoleonic Wars. Unable to move
Bro, I have so much goosebumps right now. Bloody hell.
much faster than a walk due to the terrible conditions, Murat's cavalry nevertheless presented a formidable wall of men, horses and steel.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
General Grouchy's dragoons, in the lead, drove back the advancing Russians. Davout's
Okay,
steel-clad
okay.
cuirassiers
All
then
right.
thundered forward on
All
their
right.
giant horses.
Okay. Okay, Murat.
Finding a gap between two Russian divisions, they used it to pry open the enemy line.
Ooh.
With seemingly unstoppable momentum, the riders surged forward. But it could not last. As they neared Bennigsen's headquarters, a Russian battery blasted the French horsemen with canister.
Damn. Can't they get encircled? They're overstretched right now.
Davout himself was mortally wounded. French momentum was lost.
Oh. I mean,
As the Russian counterattack began, Murat ordered his squadrons to regroup and pull back.
damn.
He almost didn't make it. The Russian 4th Division had moved to
Cut him
block
off.
his escape.
Yep, encircled. He's
Seeing
encircled.
this, Napoleon ordered Marshal Bessières to lead forward the Guard cavalry. These were 2,000 of the finest cavalry in Europe. And to cheers
Show
of
me what you
Vive
got.
l'Empereur, they advanced into the whirling mass of shot and snow. When Colonel Lepic saw his men ducking, he called out, "Heads up, by God! Those are bullets, not turds." Chasseurs
Bloody heck. Holy crap, dude. I think this is like hands down like top 5 craziest like historical reactions that I did. Number 1 would be oversimplify Hannibal Cannae. I think this is like number 2, bro.
of the Guard charged down the first Russian infantry square they met, scattered the enemy's gunners, and cut out a path for Murat's retreating squadrons.
Alright.
The French charge at Eylau would go down as one of the boldest, most desperate military maneuvers of the age. The losses were terrible in men and horses, but it succeeded in its mission. The Russian advance had been stopped in its tracks,
Alright.
and the initiative had swung back to Napoleon.
Dude, this seems more equal than anything else. Like, I don't see anyone winning. This is like the most equal battle in the Napoleonic Wars that I've seen. Jeez,
This is the
man.
banished whole.
Marshal Davout's Third Corps, the famed heroes of Austerlitz 4 months before, had now arrived in sufficient force to launch a full-scale assault.
Alright, the Iron Marshal,
Anticipating this,
Marshal
Davout
Davout.
withdrew to a new defensive line on the Kriegerberge, a
Okay.
dominating height perfect for artillery.
Smart.
2 hours of chaotic fighting followed. with every French advance challenged by a fierce Russian counterattack.
Well, these Russians are
But supported by dragoons and Saint-Hilaire's division, 3rd Corps slowly ground down the enemy.
Alright.
Bennigsen was forced to send in his last reserve, Kaminsky's 14th Division. Supported by cavalry, it drove the French from Klein-Sausgarten and across the fields beyond until its own advance was checked by French artillery. When Davout resumed his attack at 3 p.m, the Russian line buckled. The Kriegerberger was taken. So too Bennigsen's headquarters at Auklappen.
Alright. Now it looks like the French are winning.
Bennigsen scraped together enough units to improvise a new defensive line. But French guns, hauled up to the Kriegerberger, opened up a devastating fire. The French pressure was irresistible. The Russian flank would surely collapse at any moment, handing Napoleon the decisive victory he so desperately sought.
That's what I'm thinking, right?
All that was required was one final push.
Is this gonna be like a massive charge? Ooh, what's gonna happen? What is going to happen? How many quotes are we gonna get? Oh no, the Prussians are. Oh, I was wondering what happened to the Prussians. The Prussians weren't even fighting? No, this is gonna get crazy. Okay.
Early that morning, Bennigsen had sent urgent orders to Prussian General Anton von Lestock to join the main army with his corps as quickly as possible. Although nearly 70, Lestock was still as energetic as he'd been serving under Frederick the Great, and was assisted by a highly capable Chief of Staff, Colonel Gerhard von Scharnhorst. Lestock's corps, 9,000 men, was 8 miles northwest of Eylau, closely watched by Marshal Ney's 6th Corps. His orders were to prevent the Prussians linking up with the Russians at all costs. But by force-marching his troops along frozen, hilly country roads, Lestock was able to bypass Ney's blocking force.
No!
To Bennigsen's joy, by early afternoon, the Prussians had reached Schmödeten. With his left flank crumbling, there was no time to lose. At 4 p.m, Lestock's Prussians charged forward. By now, Davout's men had been marching and fighting for many hours, and were utterly spent. They managed a few...
Oh, this is gonna swing back in, the Russians' favor based on what I'm seeing right here.
Ragged volleys before they turned and ran. Russian cavalry followed in pursuit. Marshal Davout, with just one intact division left, prepared to make a stand on the Kriegerberger. The brave, he shouted, will find a glorious death here. Fortunately for Davout, the enemy's attacks were poorly coordinated, and his 40-gun battery inflicted terrible losses. Around 5:30, as dusk fell,
what is that thing made out of?
Ney's corps arrived in pursuit of the Prussians and took Schmödeten.
Oh, now it's
this
turning
new
back
threat
into the French
forced
favor.
Bennigsen to call off his attack on Davout. And as darkness descended, the day's slaughter finally came to an end.
Ooh. Frick, dude, how can people just
Since Napoleon had crowned himself emperor in 1804, every campaign, every battle he'd waged had ended in brilliant success. No longer. Bennigsen, learning the true scale of his army's losses and its critical shortage of ammunition, withdrew overnight. The French were left holding a frozen, corpse-strewn battlefield, allowing Napoleon to claim a victory.
How did they withdraw without Napoleon looking? Oh, that's a Pyrrhic victory, man. That's not even like overall victory. That's a Pyrrhic victory, dude.
But in reality, Eylau had been a murderous slaughter without a winner.
Pyrrhic victory,
As Marshal Ney exclaimed on seeing the battlefield, "What a massacre!" And without result.
This is like the first time Napoleon was
Exact casualty
defeated,
figures are
sort
unknown
of, when he was emperor,
due to
right?
the chaos and conditions of the battle and the scale of loss. But it is likely that the Russians lost 20,000 men, killed, wounded or captured.
I want y'all to think about this like this, right? This might seem like small numbers because, you know, these European countries, right, they have like big populations. But these numbers are insane to me because some of these Caribbean islands, bro, they have populations like my mother's country, St. Lucia. It has a population of under 200,000 people. I think it's like 176,000 people, right? Some of these populations, like Grenada, they have a population of like barely over 100,000 people, bro. These numbers are mad. Like, these numbers are insane, dude. Especially for this time. Okay? Like, so I want y'all to put that into perspective, dude. Like, these battles, like, how many people are truly dying here?
The French, perhaps as many as 25,000. What is clear is that thousands of French veterans, the victors of Ulm, Austerlitz and Jena, met their end on the snowy fields of East Prussia. Napoleon's Grande Armée would go on to achieve many more great victories, including a crushing victory over Bennigsen's Russians at Friedland 4 months later. But after the brutal losses of Eylau, it was never the same.
That was magnificent. That was a magnificent video by Epic History TV. Honestly, that's just a crazy battle in general. Check out these videos that are appearing on your screen. If not, check my channel out for more historical videos. Thank you for watching the video.